Morning, dear students. Today I shall discuss Unit 2, that is grounds of induction. So, in my previous video lecture, I have already discussed that the aim of induction is to establish a universal real proposition on the basis of observation of some particular instances with the help of generalization. But the problem arises when all the conclusions that are established as universal real propositions are not always true. In this regard, for the establishment of a universal real proposition which is both formally and materially true, induction rely on some principles or laws. So, the principles or the law depending on which induction establishes its conclusion is called the ground of induction. So, today I shall discuss the topics, that is the ground of induction. So, already I have said that the principles or the laws depending on which induction establishes its conclusion is called the ground of induction. Now, this ground of induction, according to some logicians, grounds of induction is of two types: formal grounds and material grounds. For the establishment of the formal truth, induction rely on two principles. These are the law of the uniformity of nature and the law of causation. Again, for the establishment of a material truth, induction depend on observation and experiment. Now, so the law of the uniformity of nature and the law of causation is the formal ground of induction, and the observation and experiment is called the material ground of induction. Again, I have said the law of the uniformity of nature and the law of causation is called the formal ground of induction, and the observation and experiment is called the material ground of induction. So let us discuss about these two grounds of induction. First of all, what is formal ground of induction? We know that the conclusion of induction is both formally and materially true. For the establishment of the formal truth, the conclusion induction should have to rely on some principles or some laws. The principles depending on which induction ascertain its formal truth is called the formal ground of induction. For the establishment of the formal truth, induction depend on the law of the uniformity of nature and the law of causation. That is why the law of uniformity of nature and the law of causation is known as the formal ground of induction. The law of the uniformity of nature and the law of causation ascertain formal truth of the conclusion of induction. That is why the law of uniformity of nature and the law of causation is called the formal ground of induction. Now the question, what is the law of the uniformity of nature The law of the uniformity of nature is one of the formal grounds of induction. Law of the uniformity of nature has been expressed in different forms, such as the universe is governed by the laws. Nature is uniform. Nature repeats itself. The same effect will be produced by the same cause. The future will be like the past. There are parallel cases in nature, etc. In this way, the uniformity of law of the uniformity of nature is expressed. From the observation of these expressions, we may form the general idea about the law of the uniformity of nature, that if there is no changes in nature, nature will behave in similar way under similar circumstances. The law of the uniformity of nature suggests that nature will behave in similar way under similar circumstances. So the law of uniformity of nature implies that whatever is true about something known, that is true to the unknown things of that type also. Due to our faith on the law of uniformity of nature, we may say fire burns, water quenches our thirst, etc. From this, it is clear that in similar circumstances, nature does not behave in different manner. So the law of uniformity of nature is self-evident principle, and there is no alternation in it. Okay. Though there are occurrences of different events in nature, the law of uniformity of nature does not deny diversity. In nature, we see different types of events, but it is interesting to note that though there is diversity of happening in nature, each and every event is governed by its own law. That nature has different departments, and each and every department has its own law. The law of plant is different from that of animal. The law of matter is different from that of life. By observing this diversity of nature, the famous logician Bain, name of the logician, holds that the uniformity of nature is not one, it is many. In this regard, J.S. Mill suggests two kinds of uniformity. Number one, uniformity of coexistence and uniformity of succession. Again, Bain suggests three types of uniformity. These are: number one, uniformity of coexistence; number two, uniformity of succession; and number three, uniformity of equality or inequality. So these three types of uniformity has given by Bain only, not Mill. So according to Mill, only two kinds of uniformity, that is uniformity of coexistence and uniformity of succession. But according to Bain, there are three kinds of uniformity, which I have said. So these are the formal grounds of induction and the law of the uniformity of nature. Now, the question: what is the law of causation? Law of causation is one of the formal grounds of induction. The law of uniformity, a law of causation is one of the formal grounds of induction. The law of causation suggests invariable relation among the instances. We have a firm belief that in nature nothing is accidental or without any cause. Everything, whatever is, it must have a cause. As per the law of causation, it is stated that every event must have a cause. Without cause, nothing can be produced. Behind every happening, there is a definite cause. In this regard, Mill says, J.S. Mill, that is, Mill says, whatever phenomenon which is a beginning must have a cause. So the main objective of the law of causation is to ascertain invariable relation among the events. In this regard, it may be stated that for which something is happened is called cause. So the law of causation is a formal ground of induction. We know that the conclusion of induction must be both formally and materially true, which I have already said. Law of causation is regarded as the formal ground of induction because, that means, why the law of causation is called the formal ground of induction? Because by means of law of causation, along with the law of uniformity of nature, the formal truth of inductive reasoning can be ascertained. For the establishment of the conclusion in induction, some particular instances are observed. From the observation of these particular instances, by means of generalization or with the help of generalization in induction, the conclusion is established. The law of causation ascertained the invariable relation among the particular instances. If the law of causation does not ascertain the invariable relation among the instances, then we cannot move for the inductive generalization or cannot go to the inductive generalization. Again, when we are going to observe the particular instances, some unnecessary events are associated with the instances, which should have to be observed for our purpose. In this regard, we may take the help of the canons of elimination to eliminate the unnecessary elements. After elimination of the unnecessary events, we may concentrate on the necessary instances for the purpose. The canons of elimination, through which unnecessary events may be eliminated from the phenomena of investigation, are deduced from the law of causation. From these observation, that means from this observation, we may stated that the establishment of the formal truth of induction, we have to depend on the law of causation. That is why the law of causation is called the formal ground of induction. So these are the grounds of induction. That means grounds of induction, these two, that is, there are two types of grounds of induction, that is formal grounds and material grounds. So already I have discussed the only formal grounds of induction, that is the law of uniformity of nature, and the law of causation is the only formal ground of induction. Now, the paradox of induction. Second topic is the paradox of induction. Paradox of induction. paradox. In inductive logic, that is inductive reasoning or inductive logic, the self-contradictory view of Mill, J.S. Mill, regarding the law of the uniformity of nature is known as the paradox of induction. Understand? In inductive logic, the self-contradictory view of J.S. Mill regarding the law of the uniformity of nature is known as paradox of induction. The law of uniformity of nature is accepted by the logicians as self-evident law, and it is the ground of induction. The law of uniformity of nature is a postulate of induction, and it is necessary for all kinds of induction. Without the law of uniformity of nature, it is not possible to establish a universal, general, real proposition. So, in induction, on the basis of observation of some particular instances, Mill also considered the law of uniformity of nature. Mill also considered the law of uniformity of nature as a self-evident principle and accepted it as it the ground of induction. Mill, according to Mill, the law of uniformity of nature cannot be verified by means of the law of uniformity of nature. We may ascertain the truth of the conclusion of induction. For the establishment of the conclusion in induction, we have to accept it without any proof. When the question arises, how we can have the knowledge of the law of uniformity of nature? So again, Mill holds that from uncontradicted experience, we may have the knowledge of the law of uniformity of nature. That is to say, the law of uniformity of nature is result of simple enumerative induction. In our day-to-day experience, we see that so many things are happened uniformly, such as fire burns, the sun rises in the east, water flows downwards, etc. On the basis of these experiences, we assume that nature behaves in similar way under similar circumstances. According to Mill, from these type of uncontradicted experiences, we have the knowledge of the law of uniformity of nature. So, in inductive logic, the self-contradictory view of Mill's regarding the law of uniformity of nature is known as the paradox of induction. So, now the criticism of paradox of induction, that is the self-contradictory view of J.S. Mill. Now, Mill's self-contradictory view regarding the law of uniformity of nature is not satisfactory. So, there are some criticisms are there. So, first, number one, Mill's view regarding the law of uniformity of nature commits the fallacy of petitio principii. In his opinion, Mill was going to state that the ground of induction is itself the result of induction. At that time, Mill's argument moves in a circular way. This leads his argument into the fallacy of petitio principii. So we cannot agree with Mill in holding that ground of induction is the result of induction. Number 2. According to Mill, the law of uniformity of nature is result of induction per simple enumeration. If this is the case, the law of uniformity of nature will be possible. If the law of uniformity of nature is probable, the conclusion of scientific induction should be probable. Because in scientific induction, there is an application of the law of causation. But in scientific induction, the conclusion is always certain. Now, if the law of uniformity of nature is probable, how can we have a certain conclusion with the application of the law of uniformity of nature in scientific induction? From this aspect, we may say that the law of uniformity of nature is not the result of induction per simple enumeration. Then number 3. The law of uniformity of nature is self-evident principle and it is ground of induction. We'll also agree that with this view, if this is the case in induction per simple enumeration, also we have to depend on the law of uniformity of nature. Without aid of the law of uniformity of nature, we arrive at the conclusion in induction per simple enumeration. If the law of uniformity of nature is a postulate for induction per simple enumeration, how can it be the result of induction? So these 3 are the criticism of paradox of induction, that is the self-contradictory view of J.S. Mill. So today's lecture up to this. So thank you all of you. Have a nice day.